Welcome in to 24/7 Sports, everybody. We apologize for the delay. We are experiencing some technical difficulties. But while we wait for Andrej Stojaković to join us, Adam Finkelstein has joined me, and we are here to talk a little bit about Andre, his story, and his game up to this point. Adam, you have been a big advocate of Andre for some time now. So I'm curious, what is it that's really kind of jumped out to you in your own eyes as you've been evaluating?
It's too soon to make a joke about pace, right? How he slows the game down. That's too soon for that. No, what I love about Andre is his skill level, and I think his versatility within that skill package is really impressive. He can shoot the ball at a very high level, but he's not one dimensional at all. In fact, he really thrives in the mid range area. He can score over top of smaller defenders, whether it's with his pull-up or whether it's in that mid-post. But at the same time, he can initiate offense like a big guard. With Compton Magic, we saw him get to bring the ball up the floor quite a bit. They would allow him to initiate a lot of their different half-court actions. So he's not a prototypical wing, although I think that's probably the position he's going to defend. I think offensively, he can just do a lot of different things. And you see it right there, that pull-up game that we talked about, just in terms of his ability to get to his spots, understand how to create space. You see the little step back there. So he really is a true three-range threat. Now, one of the things that I think is really interesting about his long-term projection is whether or not he's done growing. I mean, obviously his dad, longtime NBA player, an all-star who's a little bigger than Andre is right now. And when you look at Andre's frame, he's got these big feet, big legs, kind of undeveloped upper body. And sometimes that can be representative of a player who is not done growing. Now, he's a little bit older for his grade. So I know some people say, no, he's already old. But listen, that can happen from time to time. And we know genetics suggest he might have a couple more inches in him. And to be, straightforward, as he is right now, he's plenty big enough to accomplish all of his goals. But if he adds a couple more inches, you all of a sudden are talking about a prospect that really changes things if he can add a couple more inches to his frame. So I think both in the short term and in the long term, he's very, very intriguing.
Yeah, this is Andre is one of these kids that he has a very unique and interesting story. I remember going back to Section 7. This was 2 years ago. Andre, this is something really rare. Most of these kids like a Bronny James that come from basketball royalty, we kind of learn about and know about from a very, very early on. And that weekend, Andre was completely unknown. I actually had a coach pull me aside and say, hey, man, you need to go check out this Andrej Stojaković kid. He's the son of Peja. So I went and watched him this first game. Nobody knew who he was. And he really impressed me from that first setting. He was really thin, but he could really make shots. He showed flashes of promise just with his skill set. He had a solid foundation of skill, and he has just really continued to develop and expand on all of that. He was a kid, while he does have all this basketball royalty in him and comes from a basketball family, he didn't really play much competitive basketball early into his going back to middle school and elementary school. He really kind of bought in and really dove into the basketball scene entering his high school career. So while he is old for the class, he's also a bit of a late bloomer. And I mean, what we see now, just the amount of progression he's made in his development is really, really impressive.
And I think that's such an important point because especially when it comes to the high profile national prospects, we have a tendency to analyze where they are right now, but not necessarily take a step back and figure out where today's data point is relative to a year ago, 2 years ago, and then by extension, maybe where it's going to be a year or two from now, just getting a sense of the overall arc of the prospect. And with Stojaković in particular, that really illustrates, why I think we're all so high on him. We talked about whether or not he's going to grow. Whether or not he grows, we know he's going to grow into his body. He's going to get stronger. He's going to fill out. I think that's going to help him both as a defender and as a finisher, two areas of his game that I would say are still a work in progress. But I tend to view that as a positive, believe it or not. When you have a prospect who's already one of the best in the country, but isn't tapped out physically, and you can see he's got so much more upside, that to me is encouraging long term.
Well, awesome. Well, the wait, I believe, is finally over. So we are going to bring it in here with a quick introduction.
Jesuit High School and Compton Magic's Andrej Stojaković is one of the best available prospects in the country. At 6'6" plus, he is highly skilled. He shoots the ball extremely well from the three-point line, but is a true three-range threat. He's very good in the mid-range area and the mid-post because of his ability to pull up over top of smaller defenders.
He's a son of former NBA All-Star and NBA champion Peja Stojaković. Much like his father, Andrej is a premier shot maker on the perimeter. He has a highly advanced skill set with the ability to make the tough shots that very few players in the high school landscape can make. And he isn't afraid of the spotlight and is going to be an offensive weapon for whoever is lucky enough to land him.
He's down to 4 schools: Oregon, UCLA, Stanford, and Texas. He could be a big prize for whoever ends up landing him.
So who is going to land Andrej Stojaković? Tune in to 247 Sports to find out. Well, we have finally made it. Andrej Stojaković, a 6'6" small forward out of Carmichael, California from Jesuit High School, is here with us for a very, very special episode where he is going to be making his college announcement. Andrej, you are down to 4 finalists: UCLA, Texas, Stanford, and Oregon. Throughout this recruiting process, how difficult has it been for you to get to this point?
Yeah, it's been extremely long, but also exciting at the same time. I've gotten the chance to meet a lot of great people and great coaching staffs throughout the process. But after talking with my family for a long time, I feel comfortable with the decision I've made.
You have a bit of a cheat code at home. Your dad was one heck of a player, and I'm sure he's taught you a lot over the years to kind of make you one of these premier prospects. Looking back on all of that, all the things he taught you, whether it be on or off the court, what's one thing that's really stuck with you up to this point?
Yeah, just to stay patient and trust our process, I guess. Not to worry about what everyone else is doing and just keep growing within your circle.
Well, you didn't get to this moment alone, Andrej. Is there anybody that you would like to thank and recognize before making this announcement?
Yeah, obviously my parents, my 2 siblings, all the great coaches I've had throughout these past years, Jesuit High School for making the experience I've had as great as it has been. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, man. The moment is yours, live from Zoom headquarters, I may add. Tell us, where will you be headed to play college basketball?
I am excited to announce that next year I will be attending Stanford University.
There it is. Finally. How does it feel to finally get that off your chest? I know this recruiting process can be a bit grueling for you guys.
Yeah, it feels great. Excited to get this thing started with Coach Haas. I'm a big believer in what they're building there. And obviously Kane and Carlisle, excited to play with him next year. So looking forward to it.
Well, tell us, why Stanford?
Yeah, I chose Stanford because for me it was the best basketball decision, but also the best academic and long-term decision. I believe that Stanford is the place that will allow me to achieve my dreams on and off the court.
This was a school that prioritized you really early on, especially when you look at the other high majors. They were one of the first high majors to really go all in on you. And through that time, you've developed a really strong relationship with Coach Rob Eason and Jared Haas. What did that relationship, how big of a role did that relationship play in this?
Yeah. As soon as the live period started last spring, Coach Eason and Coach Haas have been with me every step of the way. They've treated me like family from the beginning, and the relationship has only gotten stronger and bigger since then. So super excited.
Well, Andre, I know you're very anxious to go celebrate with your friends and family, but the last question I have, tell Stanford fans what you're going to be bringing to that program.
Yeah, they can expect a hard worker, ready to come and compete from day one, contribute right away, and let's do this.
Congrats, and enjoy your moment today, buddy. So there you have it, Andrej Stojaković, the number 17 overall prospect in the 2023 class and the son of NBA All-Star and NBA champion Peja Stojaković, is headed to Stanford. So now joining us to talk everything about Andre and what this means for Stanford is Adam Finkelstein. Adam, what does this mean for the Stanford program?
I don't think you can overstate how important this is for Stanford. To get a player like Stoyakovich, to pair him with someone like Carlisle, it really gives them a dynamic duo in this freshman class. And for Stoyakovich, I think he's got an opportunity to come in and play a role that's been a very prominent one at Stanford. I mean, you've got Harrison Ingram, who's going into his sophomore season right now. They recruited him to follow in the footsteps of guys like KZ Akpala and Zaire Williams. And Stoyakovich is going to get a very similar type of role, and that's to be a focal point offensively, not just as a scorer, but also as a playmaker. Get freedom to play through his mistakes on both ends of the floor, and that is going to be absolutely critical to his long-term development. And if history is any indication, his ability to kind of appeal to NBA scouts.
As he joins Caden Carlisle and potentially the return of a guy like Harrison Ingram, what kind of future can we expect up at Stanford?
Yeah, that's what's going to be interesting. What happens with Harrison Ingram? Obviously, he's got a chance to play his way into the first round this year. He toyed with the draft last year. That's an ideal scenario, those three guys coming back together. You've got Spencer Jones, who's there this year as well. We know he's going to be departing. So there's going to be minutes that open up either way. Spencer Jones is an elite three-point shooter in his own right, so you can see that role very clearly for Stoyakovich. But if Ingram stays and you can pair him with this dynamic incoming freshman duo, you have as talented of a nucleus as they have had under Jared Haas thus far.
Last question I have for you, just looking at Andre specifically, how do you see him impacting the game? And also, what kind of career can we envision of him at Stanford?
So I think it's going to come down to a couple of things. I think the swing skills, as we like to say, those areas that they've got to get a little bit better at. That's the finishing, the physicality, and the defense. We know he can score. We know he can score from all three levels. We know he can shoot the basketball. But you heard him talk about running his own race, and part of that is building up his body, being able to play through contact, and doing it on both ends of the floor. The extent to which he is able to move the needle in those areas is going to have a significant impact on what he will be able to contribute next year at Stanford. But bare minimum, I think he's going to be an offensive spark plug who's going to be able to shoot the ball, be a scoring threat at multiple levels, attack closeouts, get to his pull-up game. This is no doubt a very big day for Stanford.
Awesome. Adam, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you to the fans for sticking with us up to this point. Appreciate you guys waiting and staying patient. And again, big news for Stanford. Andrej Stojaković will be a Cardinal. For all the latest news and analysis, head on over to 247sports.com and be sure to like and subscribe below. Thank you.